What's going on, guys, and welcome back to WrestleRant, where every single Tuesday right here on the show, I, Graham G.S. Matthews, break down all the events I watch on the WWE Network. Today we're talking NXT TakeOver R Evolution from December of 2014, and boy, did I love rewatching this show. Easily among my top three favorite takeovers of all time. Brooklyn 1 and 2 are hard to top because I was there. Then again, I was there at TakeOver Orlando as well. Wasn't as good of a show, but I would still put my top three: TakeOver Brooklyn 2, TakeOver Brooklyn 1, and this show, TakeOver R Evolution from December of 2014. Just a stellar show, the fourth ever NXT Live special. Opening the event, the debut of Kevin Owens. We kick off on a high note, guys. Kevin Owens against CJ Parker, who was at that point the go-to jobber of NXT, but Kevin Owens has been very complimentary of Parker in the past. And it's not hard to see why. Parker, I was not a big fan of his environmentalist gimmick in WWE and NXT. It really was not going anywhere anytime soon. So he was best to leave WWE, to leave NXT, make a new career for himself in New Japan. He's found a lot of success over there. He's doing really, really well for himself overseas, which is awesome. But he had a great outing here. For a 3-minute match, this was terrific. Owens' music hit, and it had been advertised in advance that he was debuting on this show, but no one knew what his music was or what it was going to be, blah, blah, blah. There were no graphics until the boom, like the guitar, hit in, and then Owens walks out, and his name pops up on the screen. The place goes nuts. The only time you will ever hear Kevin Owens' theme song not get a reaction. That was it. So he comes out, gets a big pop. He's playing babyface for the match. Has a great showing here. I think Parker hits Owens with his signature palm strike, which was his old finisher in NXT. If not that, something else along those lines. A very hard-hitting move, which legitimately breaks open the nose of Kevin Owens, which is impressive that Owens would get that patched up in time because he would resurface later on in the night. So he had a great showing here, really showed people what he was all about, why he was a star on the rise from day one, and defeating CJ Parker in decisive fashion with the pop-up powerbomb. After that, for the NXT Tag Team titles, the Lucha Dragons defending the gold against the Vaudevillains, Aiden English and Simon Gotch. And a fine tag team match, nothing wrong with it. The tag team division was really just starting to find its legs. The Lucha Dragons were fresh off beating the then tag team champions, the Ascension, at TakeOver Fatal 4-Way, which I talked about 2 weeks ago. So they needed to form more teams. They needed to create new teams, create new rivalries. So putting these two teams together made the most sense. It was a fine match, served its purpose, nothing wrong with it. After that, Baron Corbin's second ever TakeOver appearance in action against Ty Dillinger, pre-10 count gimmick. Quick match, lasted all of 40 seconds. I didn't take note of whether this was still during the point in time when they were counting during Corbin's matches. Sometimes, especially later on in 2015 or so, they would count how long his matches were, because they never exceeded beyond 10, 15, 20 seconds most occasions. This went about 40 seconds. Put him away with the end of days, and that was it. Baron Corbin emerged victorious. The only real purpose this served was furthering the feud between Corbin and Bull Dempsey, who was seated at ringside for this matchup, and they would do battle at NXT TakeOver Rival at the subsequent special. Now we get to the real main events on this show. Finn Balor and Hideo Itami making their TakeOver in-ring debut against the Ascension. Again, on paper, not the most flattering match, especially involving the Ascension, but they were perfect foils for Balor and Itami. The people loved Balor and Itami. There were huge baby faces here. Balor had just debuted no more than a month earlier than this event, and the place went nuts for him. Even before the match started, Balor came out wearing his fucking demon gear, which was amazing. And that was the debut of the Demon in NXT. And it was at that point when he made his way down to the ring, wearing the Demon gear and, going full Demon King on the NXT universe. I said to myself, this guy's going to be a star. I mean, a lot of people already knew that, but you could tell from the moment he came down to that ring wearing the Demon stuff that this guy is going to be a star, a future WWE champion, as he is. So anyway, a really fun tag team match. The Ascension held their own. Itami and Balor were really the ones to watch for here. And one of my favorite parts of the match, Itami went for the GTS, which was his first tease of the match since coming to NXT a few months earlier. So he goes for it. He doesn't hit it, but the crowd goes nuts at the mere tease of it. He would not hit another one of those televised. He would not hit his first televised GTS. He hit one over WrestleMania weekend. It was a house show, but it wasn't televised. The first televised GTS would not come until almost 2 years later at TakeOver Brooklyn 2 when I was there last summer on Austin Aries of all people. So again, very fun tag team match. Balor and Tommy went their separate ways. This was not meant to tease tension. It was really just a showcase for the NXT newcomers in the final TakeOver appearance from the Ascension before they moved on to the main roster. After that, for the NXT Women's Championship, Charlotte and Sasha Banks. Now, you talk about I'm going to say a legendary series of matches. They really were legendary, in my opinion, anyway. Historic, absolutely historic. Series of matches between Charlotte and Sasha from the summer and fall of 2016. From Iron Woman, Hell in the Cell, Falls Count Anywhere, this and that, main eventing Raw for the first time in over a decade. But before all that, 2 years earlier, Sasha and Charlotte were once again enemies, but in NXT. And they'd had several matches before on NXT TV, but this was their real first marquee match at the top of a TakeOver card. And they killed it. This match was fucking fantastic. Obviously, can you expect anything less from these two competitors who have such strong chemistry together? It really should come as no surprise. But it was a great match. They got a ton of time. Not too much time, about 12, 13 minutes, but they made the most of it with a great showing. I think this was the match, I forget, where Charlotte hit her finisher, the bow down to the Queen, on Sasha from off the top rope. I believe so. I might be wrong about that, but regardless, both women had a strong showing here. I really thought Sasha had it in the bag. She would not win the belt until 2 months later, a TakeOver rival, so we'll talk about that soon enough. But as far as this goes, tremendous. Great match and an amazing first outing from two women who would go on to make history, not only in NXT, but as well as on the main roster in the years that followed. And then we get to the main event for the NXT Championship, one of my favorite matches of all time. My favorite match of 2014, hands down. Main roster, WWE, NXT, whatever. It doesn't really matter. My favorite match, period. 2014. Adrian Neville defending the NXT Championship against Sami Zayn. Now, the story here was so well crafted. Now, you probably could not get away with this on the main roster. Maybe with someone like a Daniel Bryan from 2013, 2014. But Sami Zayn, who they still have yet to really properly book the right way on the main roster, they need to follow this formula. So Sami Zayn and Neville first had a match. They had, I think, 2 matches prior to this point. One on NXT TV, I think for the NXT Championship, and then they had a rematch on this show. And the stipulation was that if Sami lost, he would have to leave NXT, which is entirely possible. A lot of people thought that he would win, but there was still the chance he could lose and then be called up to the main roster, which would be kind of ass backwards. But regardless, that was still a possibility that could have very well happened. Considering this is WWE, NXT, whatever, anything is bound to happen within this company, within the confines of this company. So anyway, the first 2 matches that they had, Neville won them both. Not only the one in NXT TV a few weeks prior to this, but also the one they had on NXT TV a year prior to this. I remember watching it. Great match between Sami Zayn and Neville, or Adrian Neville at that point. On NXT TV in November of 2013, it was a number 1 contenders match for the NXT Championship. All these episodes, by the way, are up on the network now, so you can check them out whenever you want. Neville won that one too, so Sami Zayn, this really was his time to shine, really his time to win. And coming into this pay-per-view, this event, whatever, live special, Neville was teasing a heel turn. He never went full-fledged heel. But it was obvious he was going to be booed against Sami Zayn, because people love Sami Zayn. The guy lost against Cesaro at the Arrival show. He lost against Tyler Breeze at the TakeOver show, the first TakeOver. He then lost the Fatal 4-Way main event against Neville, Tyler Breeze, and Tyson Kidd at TakeOver Fatal 4-Way in September. This was his final shot at glory. If he lost, it was all over. It was done forever. Sami Zayn's pursuit of the NXT Championship. Thankfully, he emerged victorious, but only after an incredible match. Not only was the in-ring action just phenomenal, again, the storytelling was stellar. Everything about this match was perfect. Neville played up all the heel aspects that he should without going full-fledged heel. That's an amazing feat. I mean, as great as Sami Zayn was in this match, Neville deserves just as much credit for the outing, for the showing that he had here. His performance in this match as the default heel was tremendous. So I love this a lot. Shades of WrestleMania 17 when the ref was down. A lot of this ref sucks chants after the referee got knocked out twice. They really should replace the guy, but in all seriousness, the referee is down, Neville's down, Zayn has the NXT Championship in his hands that Neville almost used on Sami. So Sami has the opportunity to use it. He's thinking, should I use it? If I do, I could win, but if I do, I'm kind of an asshole, so it's not within my morals. Like, should I really do it? He's torn, and before he can really choose, I think he tosses the NXT Championship to the ground, or he's still holding on to it, I don't remember. But anyway, while he's having this internal struggle within himself, Neville rolls him up for this great near fall, or he might have hit I forgot what the hell it was called, but he went on his shoulders and flipped him over, whatever. Got a very close 2 count. And then Zayn battled back, threw him into the turnbuckle, the exploder suplex, followed up with the greatest haluva kick I've ever seen. Taking his face and taking his hand and running it down his face. Like, this is it. This is my moment. He connects, gets the 1, 2, 3, new NXT champion. An incredible moment. The whole crowd is crying and going nuts. It's just one of my favorite celebrations of all time. Just great shit. I really don't know what else to say about this than that. Well earning the title of my favorite match of 2014 to culminate what really was not a great year for WWE in my opinion, but it turned out to be a hell of a way to close out the night, that's for sure. I think we might have had TLC that Sunday, so this show really overshadowed that event, but this was a great way, in my opinion, of closing out a great year for NXT. But that wasn't it. So while Sami Zayn is celebrating, which went on for almost ever, but it's not a bad thing. In this case, it was awesome. So the entire roster piles out, and it's really a who's who of who would go on to become stars in NXT and who didn't. A lot of the guys who pile out were future stars. Ty Dillinger, Jason Jordan, Chad Gable might have been there. I think I saw Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder. Cal Bishop, Baron Corbin. Cal Bishop got cut a couple of years ago, but he's a notable face, a recognizable face, notable name from Breaking Ground a few years ago. But again, everyone who is in that ring is either a star today or was a star or someone notable. It was very interesting to see. And even Pat Patterson runs out there to celebrate and congratulate Sami Zayn, which was great because I know he's a big Sami Zayn fan given their Canadian roots. So then, and even including Kevin Owens, he runs out too. They celebrate. He's the first one to come down to the ring and give him a hug. And then they're walking back up the ramp, but a lot of people thought the show was over. I remember telling RJ like days later or like as it happened, like, holy shit, did you just see that? And he's like, what, the celebration was cool. He's like, yeah, the match was great. I'm like, no, what happened afterwards? He's like, what are you talking about? And he turned off the TV before I could see what happened. Because you could see the all rights reserved, blah, 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 the little logo that comes up in the corner of every special. It went up on the screen making you think that the show was over, but it really wasn't. And as Owens and Zayn walked back up the ramp, out of nowhere, Owens stayed true to himself by attacking his best friend and former foe from Ring of Honor and the independent scene, and right onto the steel ramp, and then hits a pop-up powerbomb, an apron powerbomb to Sami Zayn, who was then out for a few months before he took the title from him to TakeOver rival. And I'm getting ahead of myself here, but that closing angle was so fucking great. I mean, the match was amazing, obviously, like I said. But not only did they give you a feel-good moment, they also told you what was coming up next. Like, not only is this a great culmination of a near year-long story, but we're also telling you, here's what's coming up next. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, your next top-tier title program. That's what NXT does best. That's what I loved about this show. So overall, 2 thumbs up. If I had more thumbs, I'd give them the other because this show really deserves it. TakeOver Raw Revolution is just an exceptional event. Check it out on the WWE Network. Like I said, I would have to say my third favorite. I mean, I like Dallas. There's a lot of great... I mean, there's really never been a bad TakeOver. Some have been worse than others or better than others. I can't even say worse because pretty much every single event, every single installment has been good, great, or amazing. And this one was the latter. This one was amazing. But I would have to firmly say right now it is my third favorite TakeOver of all time. behind Brooklyn 1 and Brooklyn 2. So anyway, guys, thank you for checking out my review. I appreciate it. We'll be back next week with another edition of WrestleRant, reviewing something from the WWE Network. But in the meantime and in between time, be sure to like this video, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel for daily content, share the video. All that stuff is amazingly appreciated. Enjoy the rest of your week, guys. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.